Pitman's overcoat. 'Twas on the 5th of December in the year of our Lord 1911 that Grandad first took me to work at Pitt. I smelled his rusty overcoat as he trudged along with me as a stripling at the side of him. It smelled of him and was musty and dark green. It reminded me of winter earth and grass. "If the smoke don't get you, the pit dust will, lad," he coughed. I tugged at his overcoat. It was warm, despite it being chilly. I used to snuggle into it when I was younger. It was comforting, reassuring and soft. The overcoat would always be there, I thought, to protect him and me. In bitter weather I used it as a shield, hiding my face under its hem, as we drove against the hard hail and stinging rain in the smoky morning. The smell of tar was all around. Its softness was incongruous with the hard man inside. He always walked with his head down and his cap pulled down over it hard, whatever the weather. He was used to battling against the elements, even when it was sunny. He could not bring himself to walk straight. Life was as hard as his master's at the pit. His meagre toolkit was in a satchel strapped over his stooped shoulders. It was brown, like his boots. Everything he wore was a sad dark green and brown, like the barren winter earth. "How long have you had your overcoat, Grandad?" I asked him one day. He stopped and suddenly looked ancient as he tried to remember. "Not as long as what I'll have in the next," and he chuckled, then coughed and spat. I never understood what that meant at the time. We plodded through the evening fields home after a long shift. His fellow miners all lived in the same row of houses we did, but he always went home alone, except with me. In the waning evening sunlight, the gable ends of the row of houses that faced onto the fields glowed dark orange, like kilns in the weak winter sunlight. Those walks to and from the pithead were reflective for me. Grandad was a man of few words and fewer questions. He just accepted everything. Then on some of them I noticed he began to walk more slowly, stopped frequently, coughed more and more, and ignored me. Looking back, I shouted for him to hurry up, and felt he had rejected me when he did not. "Run, Grandad," I shouted to the solitary figure in the middle of the darkening field, but he just stood there. I thought I saw him pointing to something, and looked, but only saw the bell tower of the chapel. Then he seemed to flop and flap his overcoat. I thought he was trying to fasten it round him, or even do a parody of running and flying, mocking me, so I ran home in tears. He didn't come home that night. It began to snow, and they found his stiff body in the field. When we buried him, I saw it was bitterly cold and the snow lay thick in the churchyard, and that's where he had pointed. It took me a while to figure this out, but the gestures he had made must have been a reference to his new overcoat in the churchyard.